Okay, so first game of the series, we see Mistikal queuing with Syndicate against KAMS' well, Skellige? Puzzle Skellige, as they call it.
Yeah. So you see Mistikal skilled enough to draw the King of Beggars in the starting hand. We can quickly see that go away. Second Brawler gets chucked back to the desk. Chucked back to the deck. Does have a double fist tech in hand right now, so that's actually quite nice. Particularly in like a later round, so you're able to threaten a kill onto like a Sigvald with poisons, because otherwise it's not very easy for this deck to actually deal with the Sigvald unless you do draw into the Philippa.
Yeah. So open sesame in the graveyard, and there is no was Squirrel Mulligan. I was still catching up with the chat. It's pretty good value on open sesame, but yeah,
KAMS did his mulligans right at the start very quickly in typical KAMS style, so I didn't actually get to do what he chucked back.
Yeah. But in my domain. Okay, so
just an open sesame to start here for ForeverYOLO, not building up the board, but is getting a bit of coin in the bank. And if you play like that, well, this Armored Drakar quickly gets destroyed in a brawl. Who would have thought ships don't do very well in a land brawl?
But at least there is a payback
yeah.
from a gut and slash. Dealing with that brawler, he didn't survive the fight as well. There is the
slash is a good way to end a brawl.
There is a skill shown by the roll of second open sesame on YOLO Mistikal side.
We must negotiate.
This is... So now you already see, like, ForeverYOLO is struggling when it comes to the spenders here. Has to play this Oxenfurt God, but on the current board state, it's really not great. Because you don't have a unit on the other side. It would be like a 2 coins to only get 1 point back here. When you really want to be trying to start poisoning the Sigvald to actually threaten a kill onto it. KAMS has managed to just already threaten a win on even just playing a Sigvald. It's not even having to commit the location yet. Just Sigvald is enough here to get quite a nice threat. But the thing is, even if you try to deal with the Sigvald through a poison, KAMS can just click the Sigvald to get a Purify.
I like this line
so
though.
the Exora is lost.
Yeah, decides to sacrifice Exora. She might be a victim of a clash with the location target later on, if not hidden behind Defender. So Mistikal wanted to take the control of the round, and it didn't come cheaply, but it was achieved. Considering Exora kills the lowest unit and there is only 1 on the board. Yeah. It's a nice way.
It's a really good value Exora. Like, you're not going to be getting a better Exora, I think. Well, at least not in 1 turn. But that is a really big engine that now KAMS does not have to deal with. But KAMS, despite this huge point deficit, has decided, I think I can still contest this, opts to commit the location.
Yeah,
which means that if we go to round 3, the location of the threat of this clash will be gone. So this really is KAMS saying, I want to contest this round 1, I want to contest this round 2, I really want to play into this game.
Yeah, but considering he has like 3 bronzes in his hand, it might come not cheaply enough for him. And Mistikal goes for well, I suppose second Shady Vendor here, hoping for another Sesame. Doesn't really need. Might kill if he really likes it, but no need to kill it. So yeah, here we are. The spend as well is happening because Mistikal probably doesn't want to play any longer into this. Or he can play it in Novigrad if he feels like pushing it out too. But he also went.
Just
sorry.
Use the fist tech if you like.
Yeah. He also went below the 7 card threshold for round 2, so you cannot just land your Novigrad and pass. But yeah.
On the plus side, you already have 3 open sesames in the graveyard, and Mystikal's done a very good job at staggering the timers, the counters. So one is on 3, one's on 5, one on 6. They're not going to all come all at once. They're nice and spaced out. See, big commitment here from KAMS. I think that was a rope. That I'm pretty sure KAMS was meaning to kill the spender there, because like now it just gets like you can just fist tech spend and the Sigvald is gone, completely gone, because it's doomed.
Yeah, but maybe his only plan is here to hope that Mistikal passes, and if that happens, he just martyrs on duels.
That has to have been a rope. You have to commit the clash with the order to kill the spender, because then you actually fork Mistikal having to try and get coins, and a spender you're actually able to develop a bit more. But or maybe just hoping there's no coins, like no crime left, I don't know. Now, do you reckon you bleed as the Syndicate player here?
Well, first of all, probably depends on the hand state. Exora was spent, so your like defender is still hiding a Chirontia here, but well, your round became less scary. Long round, but okay, insta pass. I was trying to find a reason and a good reason for bleeding, but no. Mistikal is confident in his ability, so especially bleeding into the location felt very bad.
Now, with the pass going into the round 3, you get a long round, which I think is fine, especially with the Novigrad and the Acherontia, but more particularly, this location clash is completely gone. Sigvald is completely gone. So this long round from this patch Child of Fury is a lot less scary. Really, like, their only big remaining engines is like a Canute, or like a Spellblood. But this Horson will probably just clean up the Canute, and you can just freeze Philip or whatever you like, to be honest.
Yeah, so on the missing cards, it's Vivaldi Bank and a Chirontia for Mistikal. For KAMS, he has an arrow, so he has access to Heatwave, among other things in his deck. This is, well, potentially annoying for many decks, but at the moment KAMS has proactive play, so he's not really struggling against Mistikal playing Novigrad into Candle. Plus you cannot really play all those profit cards without spending anything, so yeah. Open Sesame and Candle sound like a 2 nice no unit plays, but that's a lot of money to waste, especially with coins coming from Novigrad as well.
Yeah, you probably would like to play the Candle here. Now my question is, or just, okay, goes for the click on the... This is kind of telegraphing I'm gonna want to try to Azar next turn. Imagine we'll see the Heatwave onto the Candle here to ensure that, well, other things are kept within range for your control to deal with them. But like, what actual control does KAMS have here? There's Canute that can kill something, there's a lock, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, this Canute is also getting Philippa as soon as he lands, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, Philip or Junior, they
overprofiting.
kind of do the same thing here.
Overprofiting by 1 coin, unforgivable. Novigrad's passive was forgotten.
Yeah, take a bit to get used to. The other reason you have to heat wave the candle here is that Blob can actually clear the scarabs from the Azar Javed. All in one turn. I'm curious what we'll see next here. You could Azar, but this over profit feels quite bad. So instead we see the Morals.
Yeah.
Now the two good targets for Knut are both gone, so Knut is a lot less scary in its raw value here. But with the King of Beggars coming out, it may be possible for KAMS to just deny all the spenders of ForeverYOLO, and actually there's no access even to the Akarontia.
Yeah.
So,
But,
Yeah.
well, KAMS doesn't know that, and you kind of want to answer the spenders. Can you answer this, though? With your leader, Knut, you can.
yeah.
Yeah, goes for that immediately, wasting a bit of value, but as we said, well, we see the hands. Players do not. What are the counters on Sesames? 4, 5, and 6. So you definitely want that brawler to survive.
Yeah, and with the with the Brawler as a 1-for-1 spender, it's guaranteed that you're going to be able to pop all those open sesames and double dip on their value. See the Stove come down onto the Half-Ru, only 4 Bloodthirst, but it's fine to float the Half-Ru here at 2 power, because there's no Purify in the deck for KAMS, the deck for Mystical. We are playing open deck list, KAMS knows that, and is able to greed this little Half-Ru for a few more points, particularly because the Svarbot is just going to kill it anyways.
Yeah, the KAMS Syndicate had it, the Purify, but this version doesn't, so easy to play around. I think we just seen the change to the how leader ability works with Mistikal double clicking accidentally. That was reworked a bit, and now is people are spending more leader charges than necessary because you have to right click a bit differently from what I gathered. I played with over the books, but I also like double clicked. So, speaking of board wipes.
Yeah, we had a board, like we spent the last 7 turns building up a board here, but it's kind of just all gone now, but... Wait, did the...
He's ever tried swimming in armor?
What happened to the Sove?
Well, the brawler kind of doesn't care about...
Was it at full power? It just... Okay, it's just gone.
Yeah.
I thought it was 6 power, but I must be misremembering. So that's just...
Yeah, not the best day for Sove. Here, and...
There's actually... It's a bit of interesting, like, the sequencing in Svalbard on how he kills things on both rows. I think if, like, the Half was on the other row, it would have... or Sove was on the other row, it might have gone differently. But yeah, very well played there from Mystical. That Brawler got a lot of value just absolutely denying the Sove and winning by a huge margin there.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably see Elves here from Mystical, unless you go for the AQ from Redcoin, which feels quite sketchy. And that is the case. So it will be played up against the Nilfgaard here. So this is going to come down a lot to the round 1 draws. KAMS wants to draw the Heat Wave and the Vilgefortz, whereas ForeverYOLO wants the Heist, the what's his name? Waylay spawning guy, Vanadane,
yeah.
and the Angus to be used with the Heist. But we don't see a Vilgefortz, we don't see a Heatwave in the hand of KAMS here. So it looks like the Angus will go through pretty uncontested here, particularly with the extra sappers on the side of Mystical, but no access to Vanadane right now.
Okay, I was checking how much attention Matol is paying to what's happening on the screen. While bringing up the scores, we have this Gwent Matol emblem as well on my webcam. So he is a big fan of that. Can you remind me what was banned for KAMS? For Mistikal it was Nilfgaard, right?
It was new Cultists and Line Pockets were the bans.
Line Pockets, Syndicate. So yeah, so I had that prepared, but I didn't make it visible, so here we are. Okay,
You see
so
double light cavalry is being played here, so if Mystical does play unit, well, it's going to be taking a lot of damage very soon. So in response, he says, I'm not going to play unit, I'm just going to play heist, I'm just going to play a trap. So these light cavalries don't really have anything to hit right now. And the nice thing is that, say you play like the Angus and the light cavalries hit the Angus, as long as the Angus doesn't die, the cargo will completely reset his power. However, there is a joust in hand for KAMS. This is a very nice setup to be able to kill the Angus without having access to the Heatwave or the Vilga forts. So very well played, knowing that I need to set up these light cavalries to be able to threaten this kill.
yeah, once again we see like Ramon committed in round 1 by one of the players, knowing that you cannot carry all your value into the round 3. You most likely to lose round 1 and get bled occasionally if you just try to preserve and be cute about it. We also see that this Trihern is waiting in hand for now. There is a seamless for him to hunt, but not at the moment.
We're kind of at the point where now KAMS can be pretty safe that with this engine value, he's gonna win this round. Like, it's, if Mystical's gonna catch up here, it's gonna have to be a huge commitment. So instead, KAMS is gonna start developing this carryover. You play the Kungfoorabbit to set up your deck, making sure your top decks are what you want, and you can also probably next turn, if Mystical does not pass, you can play the Trihern to try and snipe something like a Simless or a Vanadane, perhaps.
Yeah, Mystical played his Carcass, so he, well, not completely committed to a round, but can continue playing, and we see the Reardane pinning coming in immediately here. Goes for Vanadane and a trap. Well, broken, but enough time to send the correct cards back into the deck. So, yeah, illusion of a rope was there. Okay, so this is 4 points per turn for KAMS, but cargo is available. So you're kind of denying those. And Lemon disappeared. And
With the two elves being played.
okay, you disconnected for a second.
The Scoia'tael must the woods of
And the infusion
join us
is
instead
ticking.
and defend the valley.
We all could.
So
To the last.
yeah, you need to
Okay.
reinvent your
back.
camera. Should be good now.
Cool.
And we see the Saboteur. And well, yeah, he still needed to play a card. So a lot of carryover build up here with the cargo. Replaying Vanadine. 6 Waylays available here.
Quite a scary Simless here. So, and with the round control as well, if Mystical thinks my Simless is good enough that I can just win the game with it in a short round, you can just decide to bleed here. Even if you go down a card, you'll be hard pressed to find a play for KAMS that will stack up to such a huge Simless in a short round.
Yeah, we were talking about the skill of drawing cards, and I don't know. This is not what you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, notably there is no Similis in hand though for Mystical. So we do see the bleed coming. But I have a bad feeling about this tray hand, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have
Considering
faith.
that some of the waylays are at the bottom of the deck, so they are not
Yeah.
interfering with him.
At least Vilgefortz can't snipe Similis. We're gonna probably be saying that over and over, but yes, that is now the case. So you see the Bakala coming down. It's a lot of early tempo here for KAMS. With the potentially to just play the battle stations here, because you can't really afford to play a bronze. Oh no.
Yeah. And not surprisingly, KAMS takes the Seamless out for, yeah, all those waylays stuck in the deck.
Was it literally the top card?
Yes.
It was the next card. That's Maybe we should just have a moment of silence right now for that poor Simmons.
Yeah. He was, yeah, destined for greatness for quite a few points. But
Okay. So
so that happened.
yeah. So the short round I was talking about before kind of doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so let's see how indeed Mystical adapts to this new situation of his deck plan being annihilated a bit. He still has powerful cards in his hand. He has the Cargos ready to swarm the neophytes if he wants.
Yeah, you can maybe get something going with like the Venosio perhaps, but there's so much engine value from the Marines right now. And you know that the Vilgefortz is the top card as well, so each Marine you play can immediately just get the boost going straight away. And you know that KAMS is feeling confident here because isn't even using a leader to move this Marine to get the flanking going, is saying that I'm far enough ahead that if you want to actually play a gold card to catch up to me right now, that's fine by me. But this is getting a bit awkward now for KAMS because with the battle stations, you could be getting caught out with, if you try to just play one of your bronzes here, Mystical goes for like a 2-0 and you're caught with a kind of bricked battle stations in hand. And this Heatwave also is not looking particularly great. It's only playing for like 4 points in the current board state.
Yeah, I guess deleting one of the 2 targets for Cargo is a bit more on the point side. That neophyte dying, yeah, 1 copy still survives, so you can multiply them on your side of the board, but the cards are pretty good for Mystical here. Does he want to spend, like, if you're playing one, you're playing both most likely, right?
Yeah.
So
certainly.
only if you get a sense that you have your opponent where you want them, you start considering playing here.
And the first one that gets played likely just gets Heatwave to prevent the cargo being used on it the following turn as well.
Time for you to die.
Looks like it will be the commit coming through here.
Time for you to die, Dwan.
So we see front row Vernocell hoping to,
Nice snipe onto the light cavalry, being able to clean up one of those engines from KAMS and
And now
actually
we
is able
have-
to catch up.
now we have the
Heat wave
5-point
goes
hit wave, but yeah, KAMS still has 10 points hidden on the board, or even more with the ship infusion here and engine working, so he's not that concerned. How does this happens with neophytes, and Yavin is your second teleportation cargo, right?
Yes, Yavin probably just cleans up this front boat on the front row, I imagine.
The boat doesn't really matter on its own. So, yeah, the read was correct. KAMS was greedy. Well, the read was correct because you know that Kalvit was split and battle stations should be there, and you count the amount of cards. So, let's see, this is 10 points plus a couple coming from Marine and Infusion.
And the other problem here for KAMS is if you play the battle stations this turn, which you kind of have to now, this Marine that's currently on the board will be turned off because you're drawing that Vilgefortz, so it's no longer at the top of the deck.
And yeah, your second Marine, I guess, is a bit random, or is it not?
It should be able to just target the Norsca Sergeant.
Ah yeah, Nausicaa is the only 6 there, so yeah, costs him 1 engine to develop another.
He should be able to get out here.
Yeah, without leader commitment.
I trust you have sharpened.
Yeah. Can either use both leaders or the Bacala here, or just one leader. That's enough.
Goes for the Bacala is exactly enough. So
okay, my points were like lagging a little there. So we're in a bit of a short round here with the Norsca Sergeant and the Arendite. There's a couple very strong plays here for KAMS. Now, if you're on the side of Mystical, do you try to discard or not play that? Okay, Deception here is huge.
yeah.
Deception here is
Okay,
clutch.
so this is you do this. Wait, that's.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do discard your Saboteur just to deny the sword, but it's
you discard.
or that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you get an extra one. Saboteur is actually playing for how many? 7 points, right? But not
Still
enough.
5 points short.
But yeah, we've seen the effect of Trihern
Yeah.
towering
That was-
over the
I mean-
Gwentfinity.
Could have still been a Serpent Trap.
Pride is all.
So if you
But-
drew into the Serpent Trap, that might have been winnable actually.
But okay, it's 1-1, so best of 5 series. Both players now only need 2 wins to progress.
Okay, so now we have the Elves on blue coin against the Skellige on red coin. So the Skellige, you typically, I believe in this matchup, you'd like to play your clash location if you have it early in the round 1. Try and shut down the Angus and the Vanadane. That currently is not in hand for KAMS though. So
Yes.
probably gonna have to rely on some shenanigans with Sigvald and Knut to try to build up enough damage to wipe out an Angus and a Vanadane.
Yeah, so you have your Sigvald and your Olgierd there with the Knut, so hoping for that. How is the availability of Carcass? There is an Arcane Tome. Okay.
Yeah.
And that Arcane Tome is actually like bringing on Aeromancy. So there is a location available then.
Yeah. So this is the downside to Arcane Tome, because, yeah, sure, you get yourself access to the cargo, but then the opponent will get their location going. It should just be the KO Trolled we see coming down. We do. I guess you just take the Blacksmith here. The other cards don't have any units to affect with their deploy. So now, what do you do as the elf player? I don't think you ever click your Arcane Tome here. One, you don't actually even... Actually, no, sorry, you do. You do. This is lovely.
Verification is
But
there.
KAMS gave the term back, so now the verification can be used.
That's actually funny. The exchanges here. So yeah, we see the click. This is the last time Mistikal most likely is clicking, but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. Although he doesn't leave with the elf immediately, there is a Gutting Slash that can be combined with the Knut. But now this Sigvald is getting beeped up, so well, your elf is still dying.
Yeah, and I think... Ooh, I'm surprised to see the slash coming through there. Because the threat of the slash does kind of change how Mistikal has to play this.
I guess your
But
Sigvald
you do-
is big.
Yeah. The Sigvald is big enough that Knut will just wipe out an Angus right now.
So the only thing you're concerned about is the Serpent Trap landing.
Yeah.
But then you just you keep your Martyrdom, so this is a bluff.
I shall not
I also like how Observer ignores the ability to check the... I think it's even not every trap, but the first trap. It goes into the...
Yeah, can't even see it in the history.
Yeah. And, well, it usually shows it normal way.
Yeah, so I believe we just see the early Sigvald clicked there. One, so you're able to stay ahead. But two, so that you're able to threaten the... be able to keep the Knut as a threat. Because the Sigvald would have been sort of just bleeding a little bit. And as soon as the Sigvald goes below 14 power, if it's 13 power or less, the Knut isn't big enough to wipe out the Angus. But you could have, I guess, also topped it up a little bit with the Blacksmith. But if you're able to actually win on even in this matchup, it is very, very powerful because of this Svarblood,
Yeah.
which if you're able to get like a double last say, you're able to play your Svarblood totem into Svarblood uncontested and just deal 4 damage to the entire enemy board, which when their elves going super wide, that's a large majority of their points just down the drain.
So we see the first attempt at getting one of your elves through. This is the Knut.
Let's take pleasure in
Answering that immediately, there is of course no Vanadine, no Riordan. And the gap is huge, but you kinda can allow yourself to commit more to this round because you have your neophytes transforming into force, you have your double cargo, so you can threaten, and especially on 6 cards, in 2 cards with leader charges you can catch up. Like,
I don't quite know what you threaten with.
Yeah,
This
the
hand,
card is very
don't-
good though.
Yeah.
But if you know that your long round 3 after Lilith even is a death sentence, do you try to fight or do you just concede the match basically?
Yeah, I mean, look, you either hard commit from now on, or you, play like this. At least, I think there's... I think you can afford to try to lose on even, and then just ensure that the opponent doesn't get the double last say. Because then you can try and save your Simless as a response to the Svarblood totem, and ensure that the Svarblood is not like doing 4 damage to the entire board, instead it's just doing like, say, 2 damage to the entire board. If you're able to flip both the enemy fanatics with the Simless. But that's only possible if you manage to defend the bleed here, which I expect will be coming. The bleed here is basically free for KAMS. There's no reason not to take the bleed after winning on even. So you can't afford to go for an early heist here. You're gonna have to try and tempo a bit.
Yeah, this kills the ship, so not risking because the trap later on finds all sorts of problems.
not mince words.
Also,
And
a very
that's-
cute look.
Utmost apologies, gentle sir.
Very
That's both Drakar's gone, so that's a bit of like the more proactive plays now just out for KAMS. You see the leader charge coming ahead because, yeah, as you discussed, it's really important to try and maintain the lead here because you can't afford to give up the double last say. Now we're past 7 cards. This is where Mystical needs to maintain this lead. If Mystical ends a turn not ahead, that's basically game. But we see a very early totem coming through here for KAMS.
So those fanatics you were talking about, Philippine, are already present.
Yeah.
A bit early, but yeah, KAMS already played Dorigere on an empty board because there is not many things you'd love to look. And we see the cargoes. So now with the totem plate, maybe Mistikal is okay. Going a card down. But the bleed train never stops.
Yeah, I mean, if you play the totem, that's you saying, I really am gonna push this round very hard, because if I'm not saving totem for this double last say, well, I want to be getting things out of you right now. So you see the Sigvald coming down as an attempt to do that. Does have a Martyr in hand, which will pair quite nicely. And we kind of mentioned last game, there's no Heatwave in this elf list. So the only way to try to deal with the Sigvald is to get lucky with a Serpent Trap, but that's not even in hand here for Mystical. So Sigvald will go through basically uncontested. Can try and do some shenanigans as well, maybe using the Order onto the Olgid to damage, but not really damage an ally, and to get the bleeding turned into points. So it's one way to deal with a Fnatic. Yeah, even teaming up with the fellow Elves to deal 4 damage. I guess Elves are good at hunting bears, huh? Living in the woods.
Yeah. Okay, that's a small blood, and where there was one fanatic, another appears. But for now, the board survives. Look at all those elves just barely trying to survive in this harsh, skilly weather.
No, damn it, Kung Fu. So I believe there's actually a nice play you can do here. I think a back row Venosial into a cargo click on the Yavin should be able to clean up the Svarblood here. And I assume that actually even just gets ahead right now. So that would be quite scary. Instead we see, okay, just a similar swing.
This is a kill on the Svarblood then?
Yeah, I guess the cargo click on the Trickster will finish it off.
Yep.
And the nice thing here is also the cargo acts as like a reset. Or
Decides to go on, yeah, just teleporting even here. So, since there is no Serpent Trap threat waiting, KAMS decides to use his Marjoram. And he keeps clicking that totem on Sigvald as well. No reason not to. If it's already bleeding, might as well. If you order
do you think
still
he
active.
used the only good human is dead. What are your thoughts on using the Sapper offensively here on the bleeding
could
for
have been.
Sigvald?
Could have been done, especially with, well,
Getting more and more
Sigripa's right already been out.
Yeah. Because the most points here for KAMS is basically either from a Sove, like the 2 big plays remaining is basically like a Sove, or you can play the Olgid and click the Sigvald targeting the Olgid to turn this 8 bleeding into 8 points. Olgid also playing for a pretty solid 10-point body. Yeah.
So goes for the okay, not the offensive purify apparently. Yeah, preferring. Do you ever click Sigvald offensively to prevent that? Probably not.
So you basically in this case you're losing like 10 points.
You're not gaining much.
Yeah. With you going this hard on the Sigvald, no way that would be what you actually end up doing.
But yeah, no pass possibility. So Mistikal just opting into keeping the deception here with 3 elves, but the hidden ones instead of going for keeping Vernasil, because yeah, deception would have been here only for 2 elves to manually flip it. So let's see, there is a Soph in the deck somewhere, and here he comes.
There it is. So Sov is just so many points here in the short round. I think for Misty to have some chance of contesting, you're gonna need like your Riordan, which you do not find.
Yeah,
So yikes.
this is
Early click? Was that a manual click? I don't
was there a reason to?
understand that. Worried about a heatwave. Okay. There's
is
still a heatwave in deck for KAMS.
Okay, yeah.
Hasn't even been played yet.
Then fair enough.
The moment. I need
But so with the Arniolf is just yeah, too much for your puny elves to take.
So if there was a heatwave in hand, well, it's pretty obvious that if this was actually there was a heatwave stuck in hand, this is the final trap. You know it's serpent traps. You just heatwave the serpent trap here. But
Close game, let's see. 19-19. And now Mistikal is starting to get some extra points. And another one.
I think the only hope there, like you notice that the trap is not even clicked there for Mistikal, kind of just hoping that the only way I get ahead is that there's some heatwave still in hand, sort of is missed, and my opponent misplays, but KAMS knows that, well, to just play the Sov because that's the only card you have in hand, and that's the game.
So Elves are really struggling here against Nilfgaardian Empire. Seamless gets discarded against Skellige. Yeah, I don't even know. This is not Elves' favorite matchup, most likely to begin with, and then missing your Riordan and Vanadane didn't help.
Yeah. Technically speaking, if the slash was in hand, Tome couldn't have found the slash. That might have been a bit of a different story there. But yeah, I think if you delay, you let the Sigvald, the Mardrum connect with the Sigvald, at that point, you're just screwed. Like, nothing is sticking.
So, one of the most nerfed decks of the current patch, the Deathwish.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, unexpectedly buffed deck that caused some disturbance in the pro scene as well. Well,
low-key, I was kind of happy that... Look, I don't like how the infusion was bugged, but it made it that a lot of people were taking like Deathwish in their lineups, and it made it so that you could, if you could build a lineup good against Deathwish, then you're in a pretty good spot. But it's kind of regressed, I guess, a bit to more of like just a standard power level deck. There is no access to the Abaya right now, no access to the Dagon either, so probably... Look, I was gonna say, you're not happy missing the Dagon, but in this matchup, like a phase 2 Dagon is pretty damn good, because there's no heat wave, no lock.
So Seamless is the only... Well, I guess Yavin and some cheap damage is getting him, but that's like a multi-turn potentially.
Yeah, if you can win round 1 and bleed with Dagon, then you either like force the opponent to Simless turn 1, or like waste a couple turns setting up your Yavin to kill the Dagon, and that's quite threatening.
Okay, Crash and Trap Weather, finally more points than it was getting in the previous 2 games. But yeah, we see the heat wave on Angus go immediately, and this is a setup for Riordan. Pulling a trap, what do you pull in here? Pitfall. I guess this is also your serpent is an answer to Dagon in second form, if there is nothing else on the
Yeah,
board.
that's true.
Scoia'tael must the woods abandon. Join us instead and defend the valley.
Pew, pew, that's not enough value on the trap, and in exchange you get 6 turns of fog. So yeah, imagine
I think
all your
it's-
units going to 1 power or something.
Yeah. I think a slight high roll there for KAMS with the fog hitting the Deadeye and not the Reorder, where it would have sort of been reset. But it's looking like
Never surrender.
that's just the last trap. The last trap except for Deception, I think, coming out right now.
Well, it's a good thinning, and yeah, you get your choice of purification here. So
Yeah, so I think round control is very important in this kind of matchup, particularly with the Dagon not being played yet. It becomes doubly important, and you also just want to play into this round so that you're able to get your Vanadane value. Because with the Heatwave gone, like your Arendite isn't set up in the round 1, and that's like all the actual interaction that this Deathwish deck has. So the Vanadane is completely safe. You see the Sappers coming through from the replayed Reorder to get the Purify on the Vanadane, setting it up to be used with the cargo yet again. So you're going to have a 8 Waylay Simulus, it's looking like right here.
yeah, and nothing can hurt this Simulus.
Yeah.
There is no Trihern, there is no, I don't know.
No.
What was
Well,
that?
it does need to get drawn.
Yeah. But
yes.
at least Riordan has done some thinning.
Yeah. And it's not really a 17 card deck here, because you know that there are like 6 Waylays at the bottom, so it's more like a 10, 11 card deck.
Okay, so the KAMS knows what the trap is. We've seen all of them in action in round 1, which is, well, with double Riordan is basically close to guaranteed.
And this is where it gets interesting, because Mistikal really doesn't want to commit these Waylays in hand, because if you do, that's making your Simulus smaller later on. Like, each Waylay you play here means your Simulus is playing 1 less Waylay later on. But if you need to play the Waylays to get round control, I think that's a fine trade to make. On the flip side of things, KAMS knows that this Whispering Hillock is basically unplayable right now, because it would trigger the opposing Serpent Trap, and you'd be saying goodbye to this 20-point Karen. Also, not many great targets, I think, because you don't, unless you like actually use a leader on the card you tutor, it's getting a bit awkward for KAMS.
So what is the trap playing for 12? You have the fog, so you need to leader charge. Yeah. Now he's ahead, and yeah, there is a succubus active in the graveyard, so we see KAMS actually go for that.
Nice.
So
Usually you don't like seeing both succubus coming out in the round 1, but here you kind of don't mind it as much. But this is
ahead by
very
1
good
point. This was perfect for. Okay. Yeah, I can. Wait. Yes. Wait. He went for a good play, but decided to. No.
Like,
he discarded, but then he was like, "Oh, 4 extra points. Gonna take that." Unfortunate.
you're so close to
This is a shame
greatness, and then
conceit,
it
right?
just- yeah.
It was a very interesting move. I'm not sure how many. Okay, plus 20 points here.
Yeah.
Yeah, with leader charges or with like 2 leader charges. Yeah, I think it's a shame conceit.
That's,
Not
with
often
that
you see a
play-
shame conceit on a tournament.
Yes, not in this high level of gameplay. full game, but that was looking very rough towards the tail end of that round 1.
So,
but now-
any inside knowledge on the matchup we're seeing here? AQ?
Well, I'd imagine blue coin is a lot happier in this kind of matchup, but these are both blue coin decks, generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Burn is available
then-
to only to one player now. How's the hand quality? What is... still 2 mulligans, let's see.
Pelagos finds the Sabbath. You really would like to see the Idir access here and the AQ. Oh lord.
So...
Okay, you can...
You can
No,
access...
there's no Hillock in this version. No.
Ah, wait, there is no Hillock. Okay, yeah, good point. I was like, okay, at least you can go for
Yeah.
something from there, but apparently you cannot.
So,
KAMS, though, has
this
deck.
Urn is completely useless right now.
Wait,
0-point
Actually.
stratagem.
yes. Welcome to...
No, Idir means you're threatening a lot less with engines in this kind of round. You're probably going to be forced to commit the Hive Mind from Whisper's Tribute just to have a chance at really contesting this. See the Dagon coming out turn 1. There might have been an argument to Heatwave the Defender, but it's not even in hand, so there's no real question for KAMS. You don't have a choice. Yeah.
So we see completely like, changed... Sometimes you don't need Tryhern to change your style of play and game plan. Sometimes you just need a relatively bad hand, and it's already there for you.
Yeah. So, and I think as soon, like for KAMS, as soon as you see this Hive Mind coming out, like something has gone very wrong for Mistikal to be playing the Hive Mind as your second card in this round 1. Like that's just not what you want to be doing. You'd much rather usually play like an Idir from hand to set up with the AQ. You'd much rather usually play like a Stalker from hand if you're confident you could actually have a good chance of winning this round, and the Fog makes this Stalker useless until the Hideous Feast is used on it.
Okay, so we see the moves from the AQ deck, Araha Swarm deck here, growing that charge number on the Stalker, but yeah, you can continue playing your bronzes, basically.
Yeah.
But your opponent is developing the toads in the for the carryover value, has like 5 playable cards still. Basically, can play everything, although probably don't want to.
Yeah, you could. I guess you kind of like now that we don't see the AQ, this Peller in hand for KAMS is actually a lot more valuable as we look into what happens when the Sabbath is used later on. Because it will actually get rid of the Defender status and open up the Heatwave to deal with something of value here. That was a Spores?
Yeah, that was a Spores reset for 7 points. Also gets a target to shoot at. Doesn't kill the one. To not activate the potential trigger on Deathwish.
Yeah, you don't really want to be killing a giant toad so it can be used again this round, especially when you're so worried about losing on even. You do get a pass here.
Are you running away with it? Or are you like, I suffered enough? Almost as much as, I don't know, Libioda, so maybe you just power through it. You have Stalker with charges, you have a Consume.
Yeah, you have engines set up, and the points here for KAMS is kind of starting to taper off. There's not many useful Death Wishes on board. This Succubus doesn't have a second one in Graveyard. Despite like being played from the location, it's not actually really active. And these Slainer Harpies, they have the Bonded, but they don't really have many great targets. And this Foglet in hand is also quite slow here for KAMS. So if Mystical does decide to keep playing here, which does happen, looking like should be able to take this round. But
I
kind of
quite
roping a
like
lot.
it. He was offered a pass, so I guess a lot of time was spent on this consideration, and he actually gets there with this quality of hand. KAMS, of course, could have played his Harpies one by one, catching up slowly, but
So
that probably
yeah, you're
deflects.
happy to not lose on even here. And in a way, I guess it's nice that you still have the Idir and AQ to play later on. Maybe you can try and use it to set up your graveyard for Sabbath.
Especially
But
with
you
your
know what the
opponent.
problem is?
What's
The Hive Mind was played.
Yeah.
And you know why you don't want to play Hive Mind in round 1?
Well, there is a 7. I learned my lesson with the Kiki,
Yes.
but you just don't Sabbath, you just win without it. So no worries there.
Yeah. And
Also
you
looking
notice
at
that
the hand for KAMS, no Ironite, no Heatwave.
Yeah.
Was kind of interesting to see, but yeah, better not lose a card and then just lose a short round. So
the click on the door to lock is kind of nice here. It will give you either Detlef or AQ as a top deck. I think the Detlef just got moved. I was like hovering the deck, and when the order got clicked, the Detlef like disappeared for a second.
Okay, so we'll get some information on how the client works then.
And the nice thing is that with the Hillock in hand, then yeah, it is the Detlef at the top. The Hillock will be able to get the AQ as well, so you'll be getting access to all your key golds, I believe. On the side of Mystical, Term in hand, not great right now because there's still an
Iron Dite and Heatwave, so yeah. They probably don't really want to give that to your opponent, especially
Also,
with like Oniro being available from hand.
Yeah.
But you are still missing Glusty either. So, oh wait, yeah, Royal Decree is also there.
And so the only target of Term was the Sabbath anyways, and as we discussed, the Sabbath isn't amazing here. It's alright, but it's not set up the best, because, yeah.
Okay, and manages to naturally find the Glusty in hand, so has more spare usage to Oniro.
Yeah, with the threat of the Abaya for KAMS, you basically have to save the Heatwave here for the AQ. If you use the Heatwave early, then the Abaya can just be used freely on the AQ without any worries. So
the 7-point Iron Dite will be chilling in the deck.
Yep. So I mean, I don't think you can really play around the removal that KAMS has. So I think you may as well just Idir right now, or maybe start with a Stalker first if you so prefer. But yeah, I think you just engine here.
Okay, so we see...
Probably Idir.
Why do we see Oniro? I guess he was like, there is no way I'm using the Sabbath, so yeah, it didn't matter which order you are.
Yeah, I think it's technically still slightly more correct to use the Decree rather than the Nero. Actually, it depends, because the opponent knows you have the second Nero because they saw it already, I think. Or actually, no, they didn't. Never mind.
So we see the AQ getting evaporated here. No leader charge on it because you want to use Abaya.
Yeah.
But
I
now...
think, or maybe using the Neromancy was just one big bait. In saying that, like, now the Nero is gone, you can AQ freely, there's no Heatwave remaining. Maybe it was just a big bait that KAMS fell for. I'm surprised you float the AQ then, knowing that your opponent might have a Heatwave.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything better to use it on, so yeah. You kill it here, right? This... No? I know I don't like the positioning of the Siren here. Would have been pretty nice to clean it off the board. But that would come to like spending more leader charges. I guess he wants to consume it with AQ and make an army of them. Or do you go for either in AQ?
You typically would go for the Idu.
But no, like not having a consume, I wonder.
Yeah, you can get one from the decree. You can get a...
exists.
Yeah.
We're not done if you can still walk.
So yeah, maybe I think it might be a bit much to go for on the AQ on the Idu. It's just playing too much into the heat wave.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Okay, so for now he just creates an army. Is he killing? Yeah, I would assume he's... No. No kill on the doomed succubus, so we see the Beautify come in.
I guess you know that there's like still access to like another succubus anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference if you just go all in now.
True. Is there a toad in the graveyard? Yeah, there is still one toad as well.
I think if you don't care about the actual Deathwish on the AQ because you're worried about playing into Heatwave, I would really like to see an Incubus here, where you're able to pull the Giant Toad from KAMS and get another Stalker on your side for Mystical, because that's huge because you're able to deny the Giant Toad getting a Consume, so you're able to deny an additional Consume.
That's a nice line.
Get another Stalker.
With card being 5 provisions. So yeah, I'm interested about killing this Siren early. Maybe Mistikal just knowing or seeing that his Stalker is surviving decided to like, greed it completely to set up the huge last turn.
The fact the Abaya is used there as well means that, because you could have tried to save it to use on the Succubus in hand to warship the Dagon, you still need 2 warships to pull Dagon back. So that means that now if you want Dagon to come back, then you're forced to use the Decree onto the Bridge Falling deck that has the final infusion. And you see that exact play, actually slightly different play as what I was talking about. You do see the Incubus pulling the Toad, but instead of a 3rd Stalker, decides that a Grand Warrior will scale even better here.
Yeah.
Being able to boost by 1 for each drone that you eat up.
So, but yeah, as I mentioned before, Mistikal kinda is a believer in this deck. I think he played it on stream and in the previous tournament setting, community setting, whenever I've seen him, so he kinda is a master of the deck. So, if he knows the matchup quite well, we are seeing him piloting it here. According to his manual, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you see already like how big this Grand Warrior is getting, and well, we still have a good bit left of the round to go. And now what you can try and do is you can use these Stalker pings to set up this Detlaff, set up this Pella, make it so that they become dinner for Glusty Walk, basically.
By now,
getting hungry now myself.
You kinda figured out that there is not a likely an Iron Knight and Heatwave come in, so
yeah.
but he still uses leader like some of the charges, not risking it. And here this AQ list is, either list quite deceptive in terms of points. You let your opponent go forward by like 20-30 points quite often. And then the gap closes with Glusty and with the Grand Warrior on the board.
you're able to stockpile a lot of charges, and then the synergy with between the Glusty Warp and like your Ran Warriors, it's just very, very strong. Ran Warrior basically becomes like a mini Glusty Warp in this kind of deck.
A bit of roping. Is it the Glusty turn? No? Oh wait, he played a card. So, why did he do it all here? I don't know. I was confused by the roping.
We're not done.
Just spreading it out a bit.
Yeah.
See the Parasite worming its way into a Toad. Now it's being set up at 1 power as well. And each unit on the opponent's side here that the Glusty Warp consumes, it's basically...
Four points for him.
Yeah, 4 points each, which is quite a huge swing.
Oh, Dagon. There we go.
So the infusion from Dagon actually a bit annoying. It cancelling out a bit of the 1 power setups, but it doesn't matter. The Glusty Warp is huge enough for Mystical to win that by a pretty good margin.
And with that, winning the series as well. Was a bit of a struggle with Elves there, but now he's at 3 wins, so we got our first quarter-finalist, Mistikal, and congratulations to him, and well played to KAMS. It kinda featured one shame consider, so KAMS have
we don't talk about yes.
After the Mayamon versus Lerio or Mistikal versus KAMS concludes here, we are watching Mayamon versus Lerio, and I must say to you, the lineups there are far more novel and groundbreaking potentially than what we've seen here, with players bringing old reliable decks.